morning. Once again, I would like to welcome Mary. Welcome, Mary, on behalf of our
Morning, Charles.
delegates. Morning, Mary. Thank you for coming. On behalf of our delegates and staff, thank you sincerely for joining us today and sharing those words of wisdom and encouragement. We are committed to the organization and look forward to exciting activities lined up for. We are for 2021. We welcome you and we look forward to a very, very exciting day. And please ask you that you can, before I say that, let me just mention something, Mary, that to kick off to the delegates, to kick off today's session, we are honored to be joined by Mary Davis, who is our CEO for Special Olympics, to share some words of encouragement. Mary has visited our past leadership conference that was led in Johannesburg, and some of you may have met her at the time. One day soon, we hope to see you back, Mary, in Africa when we host a face-to-face conference. We're very hopeful that day is coming soon. Let us all mention that, let me also mention to you, Mary, that to you that Mary served as a program staff many years ago. And we are very fortunate to have a CEO leading this organization with very, very vast grassroots knowledge. Today, she joins us virtually, and we're grateful and honored to have her with us. Please join me in welcoming Mary, who's going to share a message with us. Mary, you may proceed and share your message. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Charles. And good morning. Good morning to all of my dear friends in the Africa region, and particularly all of you, the delegates attending this marvelous leadership conference representing 35 programs, I believe, that are present at the conference. And that's a huge percentage of the programs from the African region. So delighted to see so many people in attendance, albeit in a virtual way. It's what we have become accustomed to over the past 15 or 16 months. Thank you, Charles, for that introduction. And you mentioned that I could maybe give some words of wisdom and encouragement to all of the delegates. Well, I think, having looked at your screen as we were all waiting to join to start the conference, you need look no further than what you saw on the screen for words of wisdom and encouragement. And I just jotted down a couple of them as I was waiting. And I think it's worth mentioning and looking at some of them again. Things like family, love, blessed. And we are one big family in Special Olympics, and we show great love for each other. And this was particularly evident during this time of the pandemic. And we are blessed, truly blessed, to have each other, to have the support that we can all give to each other, and to feel connected in the way that we do during this very, very difficult and very trying time. And I did also see some of the message that Dr. Dow gave you yesterday, and I've no doubt but those words will help you to get through this time, because we're not there yet until we can all get back to what we love most, participating in our Special Olympics events in person. There were lots of other great words like inclusion, family, grateful, smile, drink water, all, I think, Charles, that you should copy that sheet of words, and everybody, we all should have them posted in our home offices as we start out the day, because they are definitely words that, when I saw them, they absolutely would encourage and inspire me to get through some of these difficult days. So that said, it's great to see that there's such a wonderful mix of board chairs, board members, national directors, youth leaders, athlete leaders that are representing the Athlete Input Council, and all are led by our fearless and wonderful and outstanding regional president and managing director, Charles Nyambe, and his strong team that are also in attendance. And I've been in touch with that team over the last couple of weeks, and I know the challenging time that they've had trying to connect with all of you and trying to ensure that you have as much information as you need to be able to reach your athletes on the ground. And I know that they do a wonderful job and that you appreciate their work. So it is great for me to have the chance to address you as you enter the second day of your leadership conference. And Charles mentioned in his introduction that I was in Johannesburg at the leadership conference then, and indeed I was. And I was very much looking forward to returning to the leadership conference. I think it was last March. It was due to be held in person, but we all know what happened towards the end of February, the beginning of March, and the world began to close down and all in-person events were cancelled. And so it is still that way. We're still living through those tough times. So it was a tough year last year for everybody, with people working remotely, everything closed down, trying to stay in touch with your families, with your loved ones, looking after children, homeschooling, all sorts of stresses coming into our lives that we weren't accustomed to. But staying connected, and also then trying to engage with all of the athletes, the coaches, the family members across the region. And at headquarters, we felt that we really needed to respond in some way and to try and connect with the movement. And so we introduced the global webinars, and I hope that many of you have had the opportunity to join in those webinars. We started out weekly, then went to bi-weekly. And really, we did it because it was certainly both Tim, Dr. Shriver, and myself felt that it was our way of standing with you and by you to make you feel a part of the bigger love and movement that is Special Olympics, to give you support. We are one big family, and that we wanted to be there. We cared about you, we cared about your families, we cared about your athletes, and we wanted to stay connected with you in the best possible way. And as for each and every one of you, I can say from what I have seen and from my conversations with Charles and the team, you responded to the pandemic in ways that we could never, ever have imagined. You are resilient, you are innovative, you are courageous in your efforts to support the Special Olympics athletes in your program, to ensure they could access some level of programming. You are using the Fit5 activity cards, bringing them to remote places where we know there was very little access to the internet or very little access to technology devices. But that didn't stop you. You still tried so hard to be in touch and to keep all of your athletes fit and well and healthy. And you stood strong. You stayed committed to your work day in, day out for the past 15 months. You continued to serve in so many different ways. And for that, I am truly, truly grateful to each and every one of you. I have to still caution you, of course, and I saw again on the introduction while I was waiting to start the sign that said, we must not allow this pandemic to beat us. So we still have a way to go. We need to tread carefully. We need to continue following all of the guidelines, the Special Olympics International and Dr. Alicia Bazana from headquarters, and the information that she's giving you and the guidance, because the pandemic is not over yet. And we also saw Joyce's tips for staying healthy during this pandemic on the screen. And I urge you to follow all of those, to wear the mask, to stay the distance, the 2 meters, and to wash your hands regularly. Of course, we are starting to see the bright side and to see that the vaccines are being rolled out across the world. But we also know that it's going to take a long time before they reach every corner of the world. So in the meantime, we're really in a sort of a transition at the moment. So I would encourage all of the program leaders to look around in your own country and see, are there other organizations or groups that can help you get your work done, that can partner with you, that can reach out to your athletes to deliver important information and resources and materials that you may have for them, and to explore creative ways to continue to support the athletes and volunteers. And also it's a good time now for you to focus perhaps on how you might be able to raise some funds to support your programs. I'm so glad to see that the strategic plan was on the agenda yesterday. And again, we saw that on the screen, and I know that the regional office and the regional staff stand ready to help you, to give you guidance so that you fully understand this plan. We all know what we're trying to achieve. Our programming is the same in the sense that it is all about sport. It's about the health of our athletes and the safety of our athletes and the fitness level. It's about building inclusive communities through our inclusive leadership program, and it's about our Unified Champion Schools program. So what we need to do now is dig deeper, provide more quality, expand and standardize and improve our local programming, and also modernize and innovate through the use of technology. And we've seen how great and how beneficial the technology has been to us and in keeping us connected over the past number of months. And we will continue to use this type of technology even after the pandemic is over. I'm also very glad to see that the program quality standards are being discussed. I think it's not tomorrow, but the day after perhaps, or maybe it is tomorrow during the conference. And these are a really good guide to help programs with your day-to-day programming, and to give you goals that you can reach and that you can progress from one standard to another. So I hope you will take those standards and utilize them in the way that we intended them for. I really do want to thank the chairpersons of each of the national programs for your leadership, particularly during the past year, but also to listen to your athlete input councils. They're such a valuable resource for every single program. These athletes are our leaders. They have shown over and over again how they can lead the organization. And I would urge you and encourage you to involve them and to empower them to provide direction for the organization and for the boards of directors. And I know, of course, that the boards of directors are the ultimate decision makers. So therefore, it is, let's say, incumbent upon you to ensure that the athlete input councils are part of the work that you're doing. And I want to thank particularly the African Regional Athlete Input Council members. I think many of them are probably on this call, as they have been such a great example of good leadership. And I encourage programs to ensure that you have effective athlete input councils within your programs, because as I said earlier, they are great leaders and you can use them in your advisory groups to show direction as you go forward with the new strategic plan. I want to also particularly congratulate the 11 new programs that were created in 2019. And honestly, I never, ever would have thought that the Africa region could have enabled 11 new programs to join the movement. And to think that it was only 2019 when you joined, and now in early 2021, you have received full accreditation. I think that's phenomenal. And I want to congratulate all of you for how hard you must have worked and the systems you must have put in place to ensure that you are fully accredited programs. And I encourage you to continue that great work that you started out, to pursue more program knowledge and to use the experience of your colleagues in other programs, in other more experienced, more mature programs, to use their knowledge and experience to guide you in going from strength to strength, which I have no doubt at all, but you will do. I want to thank our Special Olympics board members from the region also. We have Clement, Dr. Clement Shalesle and Nyasha Dorera, and they're really such great support for us to have on the board of directors. They both serve on the International Advisory Council under the direction of Dr. Dow, and they always bring the story of what's happening in your region and always looking for ways to bring back further knowledge and experience that they can share with all of you to make your programs better. So they are wonderful, wonderful representatives from the region, and I want to congratulate them for the work that they do, both in the region and throughout the world, through their presence as board members and International Advisory Council members. Finally, I want to thank Charles again and his entire regional staff. You have one of the best staff in all of our 7 regions. I can say that for certain. You support, you listen, you respond to the needs in the best possible way. And that's evident by the powerful work that we see continuously coming out of the region through the newsletters, through the videos, and through all of the ways that you give us the information as to what's happening in your region. I hope that you enjoy the next 2 days and that you return back fully energized and motivated to continue the great work that you're all doing in your programs, and to ensure ultimately through those programs that we build a more inclusive society and community where all of our athletes feel accepted and respected for the skills and talents that they have. So thank you all again. Good luck and congratulations on a great job done over the past year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. Before you go, just really quickly, let me just first and foremost, on behalf of the Africa region, the delegates that are gathered on this webinar today, I just want to say we're really, really humbled, and for those good words that you've shared with us. And it is because of our program leaders understand the mission and they understand the core value of what they are required to do. So we are really appreciative for that encouragement. It's going to take us far. And I just want to also mention that our program leaders are outstanding. And you have already mentioned this, but in your presence, I just want to acknowledge that and say our board chairs and staff of programs, when we send those requests for responses, we get them in no time. And it is because of the investment we put into the programs by conducting training, and that our leaders understand the mission and understand that we're doing this to lift up the athletes' lives. And I also want to say that with limited resources, it is amazing to see the level of work that our program leaders are doing, and the creativity they have in not taking no for an answer, even if they don't have the resources, but delivering in so many different ways. And this is something that keeps us every day, that gives us energy to wake up the following day and have the energy to continue, because we see that the people we work with are as committed. And this is really, really, taking us, to the next level. But I just want to say thank you to the program leaders, the athletes, family members, volunteers, coaches, and everybody, the youth in our region. Mary, whenever you have a moment and you would like to, perhaps join into the conference and listen in, you're most welcome today and tomorrow. Using the same login details, you are most welcome. But we know you have other things to do. But if you can have a minute, you're welcome, and we can send that message. I mean, we can accommodate you. One more point I want to mention is that if there'll be any questions for you, we will have them from the delegates. We'll have them sent to you, and then if in the chat, we'll have them sent to you, and then you can perhaps respond later at another time, because we'll be sending back feedback to all the delegates after the conference. So if there are any questions, we'll send them to you, and you can gladly answer those. But thank you, and thank you. We really appreciate your time today.
Great, not at all, Charles. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to spend the time with all of you. And just as I said at the outset, just wish that we were all together in person, but we will be again someday. And my promise is that when you do have your next in-person Special Olympics Africa conference, wherever it may be, I will be there for sure. And I think how blessed we were to have had the joy of participating all together in the first Pan-African Games in January. And we just got through that before the pandemic. So I saw lots of you then as well, which was terrific. Thank you for all the lovely messages in the chat as well. I really appreciate it. And of course, Charles, if there are any questions or anybody wishes to talk to me, I'm on Teams. You can get me on the telephone. You can get me by email, whatever your form of communication is. I'm always delighted to listen to the comments from the field and to respond accordingly. So thank you again.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mary. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.